This is connecting to an Oracle Linux compute server via the terminal. So the first thing we're going to want to do is because it's required, chmod 400 on our private key file. So we're the only ones with permissions to access it because it's required. Next, what we're going to want to do is ssh-i then drag and drop our private key file, OPC because it's the default username, and then we're going to want to get the public IP of the compute instance in question. Make sure we're not connected to the Oracle VPN. Next thing we're going to want to do is do a sudo yum install to install the Apache HTTP web server, and then run a start enable command, then a config test command, some firewall commands, an index file, and then we're going to need to open up port 80. To connect to our web server. So we're going to want to go to our virtual network that the compute instance in question is using. We want to kind of create a route table, and this was required to connect to it, by the way. The empty set for or the open set for internet gateway, and that's required to connect to the Linux server. And then as well as creating that open set for the internet gateway, what is also required to connect via HTTP is port 80. And if it's HTTPS, it's port 443. So we're going to go to our security list. We see that port 22 is enabled for TCP protocol. That way that we can SSH into it. We see we have the open set on port 80 to open up port 80, and that's how this is enabled here. So if we go to HTTP semicolon 2 forward slashes, and then the public IP of our compute server will allow us to connect to that web server via the browser. Get our public IP here.